Welcome back. Today's painting is going to be super awesome and wonderful, and it's especially great for beginners. First thing I'm going to do is cover my canvas with white. I'm using acrylic paint. And if you've never been to this channel before, I paint literally every day. I'm doing a painting challenge for myself, and if you'd like to follow along, it would be great. I am painting one painting a day. So I'm trying to learn and create and move forward with my art. They say dreams don't work unless you do. So that's what I'm doing. I am painting. So the reason why that I'm painting this white canvas already white is because I'm trying to kind of just prime the canvas. There are, like in this corner, I had some little dark areas where it got scuffed up. And so it's basically to clean it up. And then also, over time, I'm using a better quality of paint, so this isn't like a cheap paint. And over time, what happens is, if the canvas gets, if there's smoke or there's dirt in the air, what's going to happen is that the canvas is going to turn yellow and get dirty and dingy. And by doing this and putting a coat on it, is going to kind of keep it whiter and cleaner longer. So I don't need a lot of paint, just enough to cover it up and make sure that I have a nice working surface. It'll also help for my next steps that it has like an even surface to work through because it's been clear coated basically, is kind of what I'm doing. Now with this painting, this technique, I've chosen to do these colors because these are the colors that look good in my house and that makes sense for me. But if you have other colors in your house that are, you know, like you're using other accent colors, go ahead and change it up. I mean, even if you wanted to do this where you started your canvas with a black background, that could also be very cool and elegant. My house is more of a country farm scene, so because of that, white seems to do, it just looks better. The motif of it'll look better on my walls. I personally don't like to frame my paintings. That's kind of the look that I've been going with. So that's why I use this type of canvases that are already stretched. I buy my canvases in bulk. So because I do that, it's actually cheaper for me to buy them pre-stretched than versus stretching. It's more cost effective that way for me. I do own an art studio and I'm teaching classes all the time. So I'm going through around a little over 100 canvases every week with my classes and stuff, so it just doesn't make financial sense to spend all that extra time and effort. It does take time. I recommend, especially with this technique, I recommend giving yourself time, giving the paint time to dry between different colors. You'll notice a better result at the end. And like I said, this is a very simple, easy painting for beginners. Like super, super easy. Make sure that you get the edges all primed and ready. So once I kind of get the paint on pretty much everywhere, I like to cover everything. I like to then go and try to make a pass on the canvas, and if you notice what I'm doing, I'm kind of lining up the lines. Now this really doesn't, you don't have to do this or anything, but I just feel that when it dries, it just kind of has a better all-around effect that I'm looking for. Like all the little lines. I mean, you see it more in other colors, like when you do skies with blues and whites, you can definitely see those lines. But this is just to spread it out, make sure it's even. It also helps the paint dry a little bit faster. Now the reason why I do paint the edges, if you noticed on all of my paintings, is so I don't have to frame my paintings. Usually when I'm selling paintings at craft fairs and at art galleries, it always is inevitable that somebody likes the painting but hates the frame, or they love the frame, hate the painting. So it basically just saves money for everybody, and then they can just pick out what frame they want at the store, and it makes the cost of my paintings cheaper, so they're easier to sell. So right now I'm going to go ahead and dry this. I would like to have my painting dry completely all the way. Okay, so that is pretty much almost all the way dry. Now, when I start doing this, there are many different ways in which you can go about doing it. I'm going to show you how it's easiest for me, and I get the cutest little dabs on my painting. So I'm going to go ahead and get my paint out, and whatever color you're using, go ahead and use that color. It doesn't have to match me exactly. I mean, I do recommend that if you have a color wheel, I recommend using this to kind of figure out what you want and where you're going with it. I always have my color wheel and I'm always kind of thinking about it. So if you haven't really practiced a whole lot with, the color wheel, I recommend checking out my other videos and just learning and Googling for a while to try to figure out the science, because yeah, it's common sense, it really is. But just remind yourself of stuff you studied back in high school, so that way your paintings can be extra cool. You don't want to waste your money, right, with bad paintings. So just take a moment to refamiliarize yourself with that. Okay, so I have my water. It's a little cloudy because I washed my white into the paint. I have these little guys, these little paint brushes. These are my preferred method for what I'm doing at the moment. I'm also going to show you another splatter technique. But first I want big splatters. So these are the ones I'm going to use. So I have some black. And I'm going to put my canvas. Let's see, we'll move these out of the way. Put this in the middle. Now I am wearing my smock right now. So I recommend that you do the same so that way you don't get paint everywhere. I'm going to go ahead. I'll put this here. Get this there. There we go. Have everything situated. I'm going to this one is going to stay dry. Yep, see how I got it really wet? Tons of water. Add some paint over here. Really wet. I want it to be super, super wet. I'm going to take this brush, then I'm going to go here, and I'm going to smack them on each other. The more you smack, the smaller your dots are going to become. I'm going to dip, add water. I need plenty of paint, but I want it to be really, really moist, wet paint. I just kind of flick it. I let it bounce. Now, before you start doing this on canvas, I recommend practicing this a little bit, a few times on like a sheet of paper. Maybe with your brushes or the pencil, whatever. I mean, I'm sure you remember flicking your pencil. And remember how in high school we would bounce it up and down. It would be like wavy. That's kind of the same flick of the wrist, really light. Very light. See how I'm just letting it kind of bounce on itself? I got a lot of flicker here, so I'm going to add some more flicker there. And just keep adding as you go. Now, if you end up having spots that are really huge like that, that's cool. The more you can have the big ones and little ones together, the better. So like if you'll notice, as you start getting less paint on your brush, you're going to start seeing that the dots become smaller. Now, if you have a smaller canvas, I have noticed using the toothbrush seems to work a little bit better. It really just depends, and how do you want the sprays to look? Like right now, my sprays are looking as though they're coming straight down. If you use a toothbrush on this, you can get more of a starbursty effect, which is also really cool. I just recommend playing around with it. Playing around, having a good time. Enjoy the process. And wherever they land, just let it be what it is. Don't go trying to fix anything. Just let it be an awesome little cool chaos. Okay, so now I'm going to clean all of that paint off my brush. And you can do one of two things. From here, you can let it be what it is and just keep it how it is. Or you can let it dry. If you continue and you go on with the next color, what's going to happen is that they're going to kind of bleed into each other, which is awesome, super cool, super wonderful look. But for right now, for what I'm doing, I'm not really going for that look. Also with the hairdryer, be careful because I'm sure you remember painting with straws and how if you blow onto it, it's gonna like go into an area. I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna keep my hairdryer really high and I'm gonna put it on low. It's taking forever to dry, so for the sake of the video, I'm going to go to a higher speed. Okay, so that's looking great. Now this is a key step that I think is very important not to skip. I am going to turn my canvas because if I don't turn my canvas, what happens is when I'm going to splatter my next colors, I'll kind of get the same pattern. Like you can see there's a grouping here, and these are big, these are little. So by turning my canvas, when I flick again, it's going to make it more random. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little tiny bit of red onto my palette, and then I'm going to add some white, and I'm going to create the color pink. And it's going to be really pretty. Now when you create the color pink, the more white you add, the lighter tone it's going to be, and the more red you add, the darker the pink, the shade of the pink. So keep that in mind when you're mixing. It's always easy to add paint and it's hard to take away. So you get a nice pretty color. That seems cute, doesn't it? I like it. I'm kind of liking the lighter pink. Yeah, that's a good shade. Now notice how I'm mixing my color. I'm not using my entire palette, and I'm keeping just this area right here painted. That way, so I don't have to keep wasting my palettes. I also, for in the future, at the end of the paintings, if I need touch-ups, I have one little plate versus 6 plates to deal with. So I kind of like that. So I'm going to go ahead, and you should clean your water, but this is all right. I'm going to add some water. It's going to dull my pink a little by adding adding water that is not clear. It's going to dull the pink. That's okay for me, for what I want. Okay, so do you see how I'm bringing the water over and I'm making it very super fluid? Super, super fluid. Okay, I'm gonna move that over a little bit because I don't want my, well, I'm pink, so it doesn't matter. Just don't really want pink to get into my black right there. Okay, so I'm gonna move that a little bit out of the shot, right there. Now when you splatter, it gets on your clothes, it gets on everything, so if you have furniture or anything, I'd kind of recommend doing this outside if you don't have an art studio. Ooh, yep. Deliberate. So when I first start doing this, I like to get a little bit around the canvas, many areas, and then I go and fine tune it. Now watch how I'm just start hardly doing it. I let the paintbrush bounce. The more bounce you get, the better. And the more you keep flicking, the smaller these little guys are gonna be. Add some more water. Need paint. Need it to be really watery. There we go. And find an area and splatter. Perfect. Beautiful. I can get some little guys. Couple little ones. I want to make sure that I have different sizes. So the more paint you have on the brush, the thicker and the more that these dots will become bigger. As there is less paint, they become smaller. The only way you're going to be able to really learn this is by actually just doing it and playing with it. Sometimes it's like you never know what you're going to get. When I first started doing this, my paintings were not that cool. And now, because I've been doing it for a while and I can kind of figure out how the paint works, and I got that, I can feel it, what it's going to look like. There, ooh, that's good. Yep, just a lot of randomness. Okay, I'm gonna put that in the water so it can clean. I'm gonna go ahead and dry and go on to the next step. remember what our next step is? Our next step is to rotate the painting so that way when we do our splatters, they kind of look different and unique. So I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of purple. I like purple. So I'm going to add some purple. I'm going to put some purple right here. That should be good. I don't need a whole lot. So right now on our color wheel, what you can see is we have the purple and we have the pink. So we're like right here. So with the color wheel, we could go with a green, which would be really lovely and beautiful because you can see that the triangle, how it works with the triangle. Since I'm pink and purple, I could go green. You could rotate it and see other ways, which really, I mean, I could have gone orange unless I make my purple a little bit darker. Then I could probably add some yellows in there because of the triangle. What happens is we're on this side. So these are all complementary colors. And then, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to clean my brush really good, make sure that I get it all out. I'm going to test it. Yes, it's all clean. So I'm going to go and I'm going to add water to my paint. Make it really wet, tons of wetness. Now if you wanted to, there's many different types of different gessos and things that you can, additives that you can add into your paint. Water for me seems to work just fine and it's way cheaper. I don't really add a whole lot of additives to my paint because I'm pretty happy with what I got, and I've worked at the medium enough that I can already kind of feel how it is, and I pretty much don't need any training wheels. I'm a fast painter. So okay, we're gonna go here and I'm gonna go slow and watch my wrists. Watch what happens with my wrists. See that? Just a little flick. And it's kind of bouncing off. Now, I didn't get a lot of paint. So what that means is I need to add a lot more water to my paint. Thin it out a little bit. Now I'm using a better quality paint. So better quality paints tend to be thicker in the pigments. And make that fluid. Okay. And, ooh. Oh, I'm liking it. It doesn't really stand out from the black, I'm noticing. It kind of blends in very well. Could lighten the paint a little bit and it might stand out a little bit more, which I think I might do. Oh, I got a nice little glob on the table, but not on the painting. Make sure that you mix the water in good because right here I have a really light spot, which is cool, I kind of want, but I'm really more trying to get paint on the canvas versus just colored water. So. Now I've flicked these, by flicking these really hard, you see that these little dots get tails on them. And that's okay, that's cool. That's what I'm going for. If you're not going for little comedy tots and you just want like circles, do it way lighter with your wrist. Add a lot more water. And they will flick better. And remember, the more you hit it, the smaller these little dots are going to be. Make sure that you mix the water adequately into your paint to really thin it, so that way you don't just have water on your canvas. Ooh, very big. These are big ones. Very big globs of paint. Now you can add other additives that you buy at the store. You can do all that. But in the end of the day, the water, why not? It works. It makes sense for what I'm doing, for my style. Everybody has a different style and technique. Everybody has a different way, handwriting and the way that they hold the paintbrush. So far I think I'm kind of liking what I see. I'm going to go ahead and lighten up this purple. I feel like it's a really dark purple and I would like to have a lighter one. Whoops, I bumped into the canvas. So just add that in there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of white. Now watch how I'm mixing it in the way that I'm adding it. I'm going to add it to the side of my purple, right next to my purple. Notice how I'm trying to still keep my palette clean so that I have space for other colors for the future. Okay, that's good. Add lots of water. Put some water in there and then mix it. Now the more that you mix purple into the white, the darker the pigment will appear. The less purple you add, the lighter the purple is going to be. So I just get to a color that I like. And if you notice the way I'm circling the brush, I'm adding little bits of purple at a time as I go. I'm not adding a lot. A little bit of purple, a little bit of purple, and then finally when I get a color that I like, I stop. Notice how I'm not mixing it all together. The reason why I'm doing that is I still want to keep some of the dark purple. So if I want to go back and add some dark purple, it will be okay. Testing it, maybe a little darker. By doing this and not just going and mixing purple and using the whole paint and mixing all my paint, I'm saving money in the long run. Yeah, okay, we're talking about pennies here. But when you're painting a painting every single day, 365 days for the next 10 years, those little bits of 50 cents every day add up. Especially when I have a big class of like 50 people that I'm teaching at the convention center. You know, we're talking an extra couple bucks in paint right there. So don't waste your money. All these little things, they add up when it's time to do your taxes. Okay, right there. Now, I stand up and yep, there we go. Yep, oh, I'm liking it. Yep, I'm totally loving it. Make sure that you mix well on your brush before you splatter. Maybe add some more water. This could use some more water. And mix in the water really good. It's very fluid. The more fluid that your paint is, the easier it's going to splatter, and the more little comet tails it's going to make. The thicker your paint is, the more circular it's going to get if you do it really light and you're not flicking hard. There we go. Big globs everywhere. Oh, I got a nice pretty globs on the table. Oh, sorry, I keep bumping this thing with my head. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe, because that way the next time it'll be so much easier for you to find my videos. I do a ton of them, like literally every day. We're painting every day. So it'll make it easier for you to find them in the future when you're painting again, if you need any ideas. Also, by you subscribing, it kind of helps me with the YouTube algorithm, because there's a lot of criteria to be able to go live. You have to have 1,000 subscribers, and I'm nowhere near close at the filming of this video. So I still have a ways to go, and I really want to go live. So if you could do that, I would greatly appreciate it. It would help me out so much. Thank you so much for subscribing. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same with my pink. I don't have a lot of pink right there, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and use the pink that I have, because I don't know if I'm going to go with any more darker pink. Pretty sure I'm not. So I would like to have a lighter pink. So I'm going to add water. I'd recommend adding water before you mix. I mean, it really doesn't matter. You've seen how I've done it. It's both, a little bit here, a little bit there. But it is a little bit easier to bring the water over if you put the water first before you go mixing and you have your brush loaded with pigment. I don't know if I should get a little lighter. It didn't really lighten up as much as I would like. I mean, it did a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit more white. So remember, the more of the pink that we add, the darker the shade is going to get. The more white we add, the lighter the shade will become and the more lighter. So, right there. That's good. See if I can get some of this paint off my brush and then go in the water, and it's easier to bring the paint over. Now I could just take my cup and dump it in, but if I do that, what's going to happen? It's a big old mess everywhere, right? I don't want a big old mess. I want all my colors to mix because I might use them later. Okay, this is great. I'm liking this. It's a good color. Yeah, it's a different shade than the other pink. I think it needs a little bit more water though, so it's fluid. Now, remember what I said about turning? It's great to turn every so often so that you have just a different look when you're flickering. Because if you notice, if you fast forward this video, you can see that I kind of basically have the same sort of flickerings each time, like the same process of the way I move the paint. So by turning the canvas, it gives more of different directions. You can see the comments are going in all different directions. Oh, that's cute. I like it. You know, these colors would look great in a baby's room. Just wonderful in a baby's room. Oh. Oh. Whoops, hold on. I have a window right here and I just got paint all over the nice wood of the window. I don't want that. Party foul! Let me see if I can go wipe this off. There we go. Okay. I can't be outside painting this right now because it's kind of the winter for me. It's pretty cold outside. There's snow. So far, so good. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Make sure we get some little guys in there. There we go. I wanted a big corner. Try to get them corners nice and good because we're really going to see them. You're going to see the sides and the corners a lot. There we go. All the sides. Ooh! Yeah, that's working. I like that. That looks good. Okay. I was thinking, let's go back with a little bit more black. Now, when you're doing this, go ahead until you feel comfortable and that you're happy with what you have on your canvas. Just keep working at it. I'm going to go ahead and do it one more time. You know what? I'm just going to flip it this way. Yeah, because I'm thinking the last time when I had my black, I can see how the lines went. So yeah, we'll do it in this way because all the comet tails are going that direction. Gonna add some white or some water to the black and thin it out. Now I recommend when you do this to have easier, better time with it, staying within acrylics. Like if you're gonna go back and forth between oils and acrylics, yeah, you get a different look, you know, play around with it. Have fun with it, really. I mean, there's no, when it comes to this, do you. That's really what this comes down to. Do how you do. Oh, oh, yep. I want those big clumpy clumps. Oh, there we go. Oh, I'm loving it. The more I do this, the more I'm just falling in love with this fun painting. Very easy, super simple for beginners. I would say this is also good for young kids too. I could see, let's see, I have a 13-year-old and I feel that she could do this, no problem. I think she probably could have done this maybe the age of 8 or 9. She really didn't, back then she didn't really, she cared, but she didn't, you know, like it's just a different kind of, okay, I'm done, let's play with, it was more about playing with the paint, which is fun too, what we're doing. But I'm also I'm taking a moment, I'm thinking about it. So yeah, I am just flicking paint everywhere, but I'm also putting effort into thinking, where would I like, what area needs more splatters? There we go. Oh, beautiful. I'm kind of liking that. I'm digging that down there. Yes! There we go. Ooh! Yes, beautiful. Kind of see how they're blending. I really wasn't trying to go for that look. I should have been drawing this whole time. But for the sake of the video, we're just continuing. It is what it is. Now notice how I'm not smearing anything. I want to try not to smear anything and just let it be what it is. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and dry it, and while I dry it, I'm just going to kind of look at it and think about it and see if I want to add more. pay attention and look what happened. Oh, I wasn't paying attention and I wiped it. Oh, jeez. Oh, well. Stuff happens. It's a happy accident. I hope you have happy accidents too, because it's going to make our paintings extra awesome. For the most part almost dry. It still has a little bit to go. I'm going to put this off to the side, and while it finishes drying, it needs a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my flowers ready. So I have my pretty flower here. Now let me just check my table and make sure it's dry. Yeah, it's dry. Just have to stay in the middle. Okay, so I have my little flower. And I have one of these little guys, the wire cutter, just because mostly what happens is I just don't want to destroy my really nice sewing scissors. So we can do many things. We can cut them here or here. We don't have to cut them at all, but I kind of want them to appear to be in the jar. We could cut the canvas. I don't want to cut the canvas. So I'm going to put it, figure out where I want it. I'm going to cut it about meow so I can have some greenery. Now I'm cutting them all so that they're roughly the same length. There we go. And get rid of the stems. I'm going to put those flowers out of the way so they don't get paint on them, because some of these little spots right there and right over here are wet. I'm going to come with my other flowers. So it's really about the laying everything out, right? I still want to have some greenery, but what's cool about these flowers is these little greenery pieces can come up. So because they can come up, we'll have them up. Let's get them out of the way for the time being. Right there. Yep, make them all pretty. Make sure they're all pretty. If you're going to do this, spend a little money, get the nicer flowers. These ones happen to have come from the not expensive store. I need a scissors for this guy. Here are my really cool scissors. I love these things. Tug off. I use these like super sparingly. They're my sewing scissors, so I hate it if it's not fabric. I hate cutting with them. Okay. Open this. Get it out. Make this flower go up, so now they look pretty, and you can see the greens all the way to the top, all nice and beautiful. Now we can either cut it down here like we did with the other ones, or we could go up here and cut, which is, now that I'm staring at it and I'm looking at it, I think for this one I'm gonna cut them a little bit up. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'll leave a little tiny bit of a stem is okay, just a little guy. And I'm going to cut. I want to get these out of the way because I have paint on the table in some areas. Okay, so now we have our flowers. I'm going to make sure I don't have paint on my hands. And then I have my pretty white flower. Ooh, and I have a little piece of greenery on this guy. Right here. It's a little piece of green. I kind of pop this guy off and I can use him also. And this one, you can just... There we go, and just pull it out. It's a very beautiful flower. I love it. Okay, so put those all off to the side. Now let's check the painting. I think it still might be a little wet, and I strongly recommend for the paint because of what, remember the boo-boo I had right here? I recommend, and going on to the next step, when it is completely, fully, all the way dry, so that way this little boo-boos don't happen. So I'm going to go ahead and use the hairdryer a little bit more, and then I'm going to rotate my painting in many directions to see what do I like better with the paint the splatters. Like, I'm not digging that, that's going to be hidden, but like this and this, I'm just not feeling it. So I think I could either cover them with the vase, or I could cover them with the flowers. And the flowers I would have more out here, whereas if it was a vase, it would just be about here. So I'm going to go ahead and make my vase down here and put my flowers that way. And this is something, while you're waiting for your paint to dry, go ahead and think about and look at all those areas. So right now, since I'm going to paint the vase first, I'm going to go ahead and dry this area really good so I don't get the paint to mix in on the canvas. That I do have a little wet spot right there. It's kind of okay, not really, but for the sake of the movie I'm going to move forward. Now I'm going to start using my square right here. I have a square brush. I find that the square tends to work better for me. I'm going to put some turquoise on my palette. Oh, I like those colors together. Aren't they beautiful? If you like this painting and you think it's a cool one, can you go ahead and like the video and let me know in the comments what you think? Because I like hearing back from people who paint with me. And also, if you paint this painting, which I hope you should be painting with me, that would be so cool. I really would love to paint with you. Go ahead and show me in a photo what your painting looks like. Like send me like a before and after, or like a halfway through point, and then in the end. It's nice to see what they turn out to be. So I'm going to go ahead and do a rough basic outline as to where this vase is going to be. Just the basic idea so I can have a gist of where I'm going. Sometimes it's good to stand up and see your painting from a distance, so you can just end it up being higher, want curved. So far I'm liking that. The paint is really wet. I need to dry it a little bit more. Everything else seems to be a little dry. So I'm going to go ahead and paint. Now because I have the darker colors and like the black underneath and the purple, they're going to start showing through the paint. So it will take me a few coats. Rome was not built in a day. See, and this is why you should be painting along with me, and I hope that you are, so we can have a good time together. And this is another reason why I would like to go live, because there's some times during the painting when I want to hang out and not be in my little art studio and just have like fun with you guys. And so I really need you guys to hit the subscribe button so that way YouTube will allow me to go live. I can't go live right now and I'd really love to, so please go and subscribe. Also, if you're not a part of the Facebook group, we have a whole bunch of awesome people that are in the group right now. And like everybody's sharing tips, ideas, tricks, and different little things, and everybody's showing their paintings of what they do, which I hope you also show me your painting there. It's called Painting Challenge, and it's on Facebook, and the picture of it is a painting palette that like has paint on it, a wooden palette, and then it has paint brushes that go through the thumb hole of the painting palette. So yeah, go ahead and like join that group, because this is where I put all my little info. I give out free presents all the time on that group, like brushes and paint and stuff like that. So it's only pretty much for the people that are a part of the group, because, you know, they're the people that are painting with us. And literally I am painting one a day. So go check it out. I post all of them there. So this YouTube channel is just a fraction of what I'm doing. I also give like classes, like I go lives on YouTube or on Facebook, because they allow me to go live there. So I do a lot of Q&As and answer your live questions and stuff. So go check that out. I'm going to try to steer clear. That's still a little bit wet. Now, as I'm painting, if you see what I'm doing, I'm being a little thick with this paint. And it's kind of creating lines. I don't know if you could see them too well on the camera. Here live in front of me, I can see a lot of these little lines. And they're kind of it's gonna freeze, they're gonna dry like that, because I am using a better quality, thicker paint. So my painting is gonna be a little bit raised with those lines, and it gives the vase character. Okay. It needs to dry. Okay, I need to stand up for a minute and look at my painting. I can see, now that I stand, I can see at a different angle. Whew, I should have stood when I did this one. That's okay, we'll just make this guy go out a little bit more. I meant to do that. It's my happy accident of the day. It was supposed to be there. Just little fixes. And painting is nothing to get stressed about. If you mess up, just paint over it. Wait till it dries, then paint over it. Don't freak out. Like, this should not be your hardest part of the day. This should be your zen moment without the husband, kids, wife. This is the part of the day where this is you. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead. I got the gist of that, and I really would like that to dry just a little bit before I go slapping on paint. So, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to move my palette away from my dryer, because I don't want the turquoise to get a little dry. So I'm going to go ahead and dry this. Looking very lovely. Okay, so now that it dried a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and cover this. Now, as I was drying, see, See, because it wasn't dry, I had another happy little mistake. Woo! I don't want to make sure that you're not resting your hand on the canvas if it's still wet. So I was going to go and I was going to show how to, like make highlights and like the light shining off of it. But as I was standing here and I was drawing it, I started noticing that I really like the dots coming through because it's giving it a look that there is, it's giving it a look that it's glass. And so I'm digging it. It's working. So I'm going to change my game plan and just go with it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dry this area. I'm going to turn my painting just for a little bit to be easier with the hand drying. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure this is all dry so that way when I put my flowers, it's not going to smear like I had my happy accident over there and my happy accident here, so that don't happen again. It died. Okay, so that has to charge. That should be about good. I mean, it's still kind of bubbly. Let's see. So now that I cut my flowers, we're going to start with the bottom ones first. And then we're going to go up. So I'm going to go ahead and remove my paint because I'm not going to work with that right now. I'm going to work with all my flowers. And the first flowers that I want to work with are these guys. My little green stemmy guys. See if I can move these up a little bit. Not too much. Just a little. And I don't want to really bend them. Make sure they're nice and pretty. And they're where they need to be. I want each one to also have its own personality. Okay, so we're going to look to see which is the prettier side of the flower. I don't know, I can't tell. I think that one. So we're going to go Ma. Mia. These guys look like they're twins. This one's got a little bend to it. So they look good. How about we do that? Does that look good? It would be cool if we could do that, but I mean, I guess we kind of could make it off center. When things are off center, they appear to be cooler. So try to off center your stuff. So we're gonna try to place these in a way. Oh, I have one more. I forgot I have one more. So, yay, happy accidents, huh? We just take a moment and hide all the little boo-boos. I had a boo-boo. I'm going to go ahead and put my flower over it. Cover up that boo-boo. So I'm going to place them about where I think they need to be. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm making an executive decision that I don't want to have these stems anymore. My original game plan had them, and now I'm going to decide not to have them. Ugh. Whew. You were on there, little guy. These are kind of old. Woo. Ah. Don't tell me I dulled them that quick. Oh, jeez. Ah, there we go. There we go. That was lovely. There we go. I just wasn't holding it right. Make sure there's some paint on there. I got a bunch of little pieces. You gotta remember there's 5 pieces on the floor later to pick up. Now, when you're doing this, you can also use whatever flowers, you know, like use the flowers that make sense for you, for your wall, for the colors that you're going for in your house. If you're giving this as a present to somebody, or you're trying to sell this as a painting in a craft fair, try to think of what colors people decorate their house with. So that way you can have a gist of, you know, if somebody has a memory, you know, that's like, oh, like let's say you're giving this to your mom and your dad had passed away, but he always gave your mom flowers, a specific kind of flowers. Be like, do those flowers, you know, like, and just, it'll make her day, you know, just be like I remember mommy. Okay. So really, yeah, fuss with it. Don't fuss with it too much, though. You know, don't overthink this. We're in our good, like, we don't have to deal with anything right now. We're having a good time hanging out and being social. So try not to, like, freak out. Because, yeah, if you're freaking out right now, you shouldn't be doing this, because really, this should be the last stressy thing that you have to do all day. This should be your happy, fun time. It's my happy, fun time. I don't have to clean any dishes right now. I don't have to do anything. I can just hang out in my art studio and hang out with you. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. I'm thinking I'm going to make him a little bigger. I'm thinking that they're going to be a little bit bigger. And the piece de resistance supposed to be like, yes. Yes. Something of this nature. Something of this idea. Oh, and don't remember we have our happy little leaf. We can fit. I'm not digging this. Happy little leaf in there. Too bad I didn't have another one to be symmetrical. But I'm going to use him to hide boo-boos. I'm liking it. I wish I was live right now so I could get your opinion on what you think. I do think the flowers should be kind of going up and out. I think that's pretty cool. I'm really liking it. These colors are working great together. Okay, so I think we've elevated this painting from baby room painting to teen and girl in her 20s house type painting on the wall. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to take these off for right now. Get them out of the way. I'm going to do that one last. The white one goes last. And then I'm just going to have a good time. And this whole time while we've been painting, I've had my hot glue gun over here. This thing was like from, I think, the 70s. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's from the 70s. Okay, so we're going to go. I like this little guy. but I wish I had 2. But then it would be too perfect, right? I mean, look at this rose. This rose isn't absolutely perfect. It's got some... Oh, I had another boo-boo. The paint was wet and I touched it. So the rose isn't exactly symmetrical. So that's what we're trying to go with our arrangement. To be symmetrical without being symmetrical. Happy little chaos. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to go with my glue gun. I'm going to do a little bit on the leaf. On the flower. Really quickly. And then I'm going to go into my boo-boo area. I'm going to press it down. And get it to be not too pressy down, just enough so that the glue is adhering to the canvas. Oh, there we go. This is going to be beautiful on the wall. Okay, we'll let that sit for a little bit and dry. Don't mess with it too much. Remember, we're trying to have a good time here. We're not trying to have issues. We're trying to have fun. Okay, so don't overstress or overthink it. Which side is prettier? I'm starting to think that this one is. Let me fix the flower too. Yeah. Fix your flowers before you glue them. Make them how you want them to be and then glue. Because once they're glued down, that's it. Let it be. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and I feel that I get some coverage here. Like I really kind of want these to hold and stand the test of time. So I'm going to make sure I have everything. I'm going to try to get a little bit of glue everywhere. So I'm going to flowers, get some glue. And then the little leafy guys get some glue to help him. Glue everywhere. And then find what you don't like. Set it down. And then press it down so that it can adhere. But don't over press. Be careful. This stuff's really hot. I burned myself a little bit. Ah! Burn! Woo, the burn. Feel the burn. There we go. Just a little bit to be hi, I'm here and I am fabulous. Look at me. Oh yeah, see that's already dry over here for the most part. A little heat, not so much. Don't squeeze it down too much. We still need some 3D-ness happening. Just enough so that it's sticking to the canvas. So where do we have other boo-boos? Well, we really don't. I mean, there is a lot of black over here, and I would like it to be symmetrical, so let's do this. Let's find our pretty part of the flower, get our flowers situated so that they're lovely and they're happy. I mean, there's more going on there. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and, yep, I'm going to do it really quick. Turn and we put it down quickly. Oh, I'm loving it. Now you can do this in a way where these are coming off the canvas like that a little bit, which is totally cool. But like sometimes there are people that like to rotate the paintings that are in their house. And so when you do that, it's harder to store them. It's more so I try to keep everything in. So I kind of want to keep it in towards the canvas. Now when you are rotating your canvases, like let's say you have a bunch of Christmas stuff out and then it starts becoming spring and you want to take your Christmas decorations down. I recommend putting them into a black garbage bag, a garbage bag that's going to fit them, and then putting it inside and then preferably laying them flat if you put them in the attic or the storage. Canvases, these type of canvases with the wood warps. So I just found better success with less warping when they're laying down. You could put them inside of pillowcase, but really honestly, do they need to breathe? I mean, if the paint's dry and it's all dry, plastic is just fine. I have stood them up in boxes before, like if I paint them and I know next month I'm going to go to a craft fair and sell my paintings, sometimes just having them in a box for a short period of time is okay. But if you're going to try to like, they're going to be storage for quite some time, I recommend for best results to lay them flat. Especially if you can hang them in the wall, like in the storage, like in your attic or whatever, if you're able to hang them, that's great too, but they also still, paintings on the wall do kind of warp over time. That's just part of the whole gig of what's going on here. So, yeah, just part of the whole wood warping deal. And then it's also with gravity. I think a little bit of gravity is helping with that as well. Now, if you notice, I didn't do these super symmetrical. Oh, I tapped it again. I keep tapping it. So if you notice, my flowers aren't all the way symmetrical, and that's on purpose. This guy isn't in the middle. They're not, this one's a little bit down because I'm going to put the green one there, but like, I want to have character. Everything in your painting needs to have its own little voice and say, I'm fabulous, because I am. This little guy, he's cute. Put this one here, like he's coming out. And we're gonna cover, I mean, there's gonna be a flower, so the stem whole deal, it's fine. And even if you see it, whatever, who cares? I'm having a great time in my art studio right now. So I'm gonna go, I'm putting the glue down the center of my leaves so that way the edges can kind of sit up a little bit. I do like to be generous when I'm doing the glue because glue's not that expensive and I don't use it as much as I use paint. Like, this is the first time I've used my hot glue gun in, I'd say, about a month. So, yeah, the last time I used it, I only used like 1 stick of glue. So, I want to make sure it's really in there. So, by putting the glue on the middle part of the leaf, when this dries, these little pieces, I'm going to keep this to hold it down for a little bit. Just to hold these down while they're drying. Right there. Yeah. Then the little areas are going to stick up a little bit and it's going to be totally cute. There we go. Okay, so while that dries, now we have our pretty pink flowers. Now you could face a couple, you know, you could do one of these bits and have them go all over the place, right? Now if I was being symmetrical, I could put my white flower right in the middle, which also would be super extremely cute also. The original game plan when I was in the store buying these flowers, when I was holding them in my hands, this was what was working to me at the time when I was holding them. But now that I'm seeing it, when they're out on the canvas like this, I'm not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it anymore. So I'm going to be, yeah, that's much cooler, right? I mean, just play around with it. There's, you know, of course, you know, we're going to put some out here, which was the plan why I kind of made them disjointed a little bit. So the original game plan was this. But I'm not feeling it. I ain't feeling it anymore. So we're going to roll with it. We're going to make that guy. Now I do know I kind of want him meow in the meow area. This should be good. Oh yeah. Yep, they're good. Okay. So I do want a flower here. I would like one there. I do still want to see greeneries, right? And let's see one here. I kind of need to cover this stem. So whatever I do, somebody's got to be there to cover. And you could make this as tight or as full as you want. I still want to see some greenery. And also, so I was in this hotel and it was a beautiful arrangement on the table. And, I mean, this is Impressionism art. This is modern art that I'm creating, mixed media. So by having these spaces in which you can like see through is kind of cool. So for example, go outside, look at a tree. When there's a bunch of leaves on the tree or like a pine tree needle in the wintertime, pine tree, you can still see through the tree a little bit. And so if we can see through in little spaces, that's great. Because obviously, I mean, we're alive, we know that these aren't real flowers, right? So we can play with it a little bit. And that's why this is becoming Impressionism, because we are showing the feeling of the flower versus, oh my goodness, the corner is there, the curve's here. No, we're not trying to make a photograph. We're just saying this is how I feel, and having some space between them, because look at all these pretty dots we made. They're beautiful. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm going to go meow with this guy. So you can get rid of this one for a little bit. Don't need him. Okay, so now I'm going to go and let's start with this. You know what? Let's start covering here. Let's do this guy. So we're going to go make sure it's pretty. We're going to find the prettiest part of our flower is going to be the outside. The inside is going to be the not so pretty part, which this whole flower is really beautiful. So it really doesn't matter. I'm going to take a moment and make sure that all my little leaves, all my petals are beautiful and how they kind of should be within their chaos. This guy's not that pretty, so let's make him down. So I'm going to go ahead, and I don't really want to cover up a whole lot of the vase because I do love my vase. You know, I want to show that. So I'm going to go here. Now you can either go sideways or you can go here. We can turn this. I'm going to turn my leaf so that I have these two right there and then this leaf in the middle so I can put my glue here. Because what happens if I got this here, this is going to happen and then we're going to get like a flat leaf and then it's going to stick up. It's going to be awkward. I mean, you could do that, but I want more of a 3D effect. So I'm going to put my thing in the middle. You know what? That's a pretty leaf. So I'm going to make that pretty leaf so it comes up. I'm going to rotate them. I'm going to find an ugly leaf. And I'm going to put my ugly leaf, let's see, right here in the middle. See what I'm doing? Like that. Now this is my method. Find a method that works for you. But this is what I find that works the best. I'm going to put glue. I'm going to be kind of a little liberal because this flower is going to weigh a little bit. Plenty of glue, and then I'm gonna plop it down, being mindful not to cover my vase because I like my vase. I think it's a pretty vase, but I still want to cover up this little, his stem. I need to cover that up. So I'm gonna hold it a few seconds, give it a minute to dry. Take a moment, squish it all down. Be careful because this stuff's like really hot. That should be good. Just give it a minute. Once it's all dry, don't mess with it too much. Let it, let it adhere and then leave it. Okay, so that's cute. Totally love it. We can do one here. Let's do one here. Now, find a leaf they're all pretty. All these leaves are pretty. The flower itself, let's see, it's a little ripped here. This one isn't that pretty. They could be a little, they're stuck. So go ahead and they're all pretty. Put that in the middle. You know what? These ones have nice little curves on them, which I want, but this one kind of doesn't. This one in the back, he's kind of flat. So I can do it here, which is what I'm going to do, because see how if I put the leaf between these two guys right here, then I'm going to have this little green guy poke up right there. And that's going to be pretty cool to have the little green guy poke up. So between the two leaves, I'm going to go with my glue gun. And I'm going to put right in the middle of the leaf. I'm going to be quite liberal with the glue, trying to work quickly. And then I'm going to set it down, being mindful to not cover my, trying to be mindful not to cover my vase because I think I did a really good job painting it. I like it. I'll let that sit in for a minute. Yep. Don't mess with it too much, just so it's down and it's got a good base of the paint kind of smushes out a little bit. Or excuse me, the glue. I'm gonna need another stick. Let me just, I like to be prepared up front. Put the little stick in here. There. So that way it'll grab it and it'll keep pushing it through. Okay, so now if we take these off, I know I want to cover that. I do kind of want to have some areas between because I like the splattery paint that I did. But I don't want this to be super perfectly symmetrical. I kind of did want to have, I was planning on having a flower here and two up there, right there. See, I'm liking that. This is working. Now let's just double check. And will this guy go? Yeah. Yeah, sure. This one will. And we'll still have some in-betweens. Now you can make this as full or as thick as you want. Like, so if I brought these back in just a tiny bit, I mean, I do want to cover up the stems a little for the illusion. I mean, that's really, the stems are kind of important to cover. But I still want to have there. So make it tight or loose, however much you want. It's kind of like the idea, measure twice, cut once. So now, let's go with this one because that's kind of leading me to where I need to be. So let's take that for a minute. I'm gonna look, this guy's not doing so well. And this leaf, this one's not doing well. So we'll turn it, make it pretty. Remember to make these so that we can see the greenery. Well, the greenery is kind of small, so we don't see it on this guy. So it doesn't really matter as much. You know what? This one don't seem like it's doing that great. So we're gonna rotate to this guy. And we'll be right, meow. Okay, there we go. We'll do it right here. Get my glue gun. Work quickly and put the glue in the middle of the leaf. Try not to burn your fingers. I feel like a burn is gonna happen. Flip it over. Try to cover this stem. We want the stem covered. There we go. Hold it down a minute. Let the glue kind of flatten out a little bit of everywhere. Once it's down, don't bring it back up. So like keep the glue where the glue needs to be. Okay, so that's working. That's working. Now we have these stems right here that we're going to need to cover. We need to hide those stems. Feeling like a, how about we meow this one? We could do one of those where these guys are close together. That would be nice so it's not super symmetrical. Because I did want a flower to be here. And then we could, oh, I like it. I love it. Yes, it's happening. It's coming. Okay, gotta always stand up and look at it from a different angle. Yeah. If I'm not super symmetricaling these flowers, well, maybe that's better. Maybe I bring this guy up a little bit because I wanted a flower, so I bring him up to cover the stem. Yep. Okay. That's what we're working on right now. Okay. Find the flower that's not so pretty. It's this guy. Ooh! And it fell off. It's okay. This is the cutest painting ever. I'm super happy with this one. I think this one might go in my bedroom. I really like it. I mean, the living room's cool, but it doesn't match my living room. So if you're really happy with your paintings, put them in the living room and put them in high traffic areas so when people come to your house, they'll be like, oh, you are so cool. So that they can see it. And I want this one in a high traffic area. But, I don't know, it's farmy, it's country. It'll work. Okay, right there in the middle of the leaf, quite liberally. And then, oh, I forgot where I was putting this guy. Is he going there or was he going? Oh, you're going here. You are going to go here. Yeah. Right there's where you're going. It's a new home. So, now these flowers, nobody's paying me or giving me like money or anything to like advertise their products. I went to the store that's very cheap and I spent a while there and looking for the most prettiest, beautifulest flowers. Now there are a lot of places. So the filming of this video, AC Moore is towards the end of what they're doing. So they have discounted their flowers quite a lot. I shop around when it comes to art supplies. There's a lot of different products I use for different reasons. Basically, these just caught my eye and I thought they were pretty. Now, if you're trying to make like a ton of these, like if you're gonna, let's say this would be a great thing if you did maybe for like a wedding or something to have as decorations somewhere. I don't know where you'd put it maybe, but somewhere really pretty, right? And then you can have like a series of paintings or whatever at your event of whatever event you're doing, and then at the end of your event, you know, you have them up on easels, walls, whatever, then you can have them all different but yet still in the theme, and then tell your people who were gracious people that helped you with your party and that they can have a painting and pick one of their choice. And always, when you're trying to give people and you're giving paintings away, always make sure that you allow them the opportunity to say no, because they might not like your art and it's not you. It's just, maybe it just doesn't fit, you know, like my cousin's at the university right now, and it's, you know, he likes my art, but he lives in a dorm room. So it's not really realistic for me to give the guy a painting because he lives in a dorm. But, you know, if we're doing something or you're hosting an event and you want to say thank you to your people, this is a great way to do that. This is a great way to be, I did this and I would like you, you know, keepsake. So this would be, this painting particular would be great at a wedding or a baby shower because of the flowers. And obviously, honestly, it's a cute piece. It's not dated. I mean, I'm pretty sure that this idea will be around in like 30 years and people will still think it's cute. I mean, like macrame. Remember that, how it was such a huge hit and then it just kind of disappeared? I mean, I don't think that this is going to be like that. And still, even, you know, when I first started having my own apartment, I thought macrame was kind of cool to hang my plants. And it was pretty hard to find it in the store, so I had to make it. I think this idea of what we're doing here today, I think will live on. I think this idea would be something that is pretty cool. Now, the problem also with this is I do have a piece of flowers from my husband, his grandma. She had this little arrangement baskety thing that hung on the wall. And it does get dusty and dirty. So that's kind of the problem there, the dust. Or, you know, so you kind of need to take a hairdryer to it, take it outside in the wind a little bit. I mean, it's not like you can scrub the dirt out of it, right? So that's a whole thing. And it's not like you just want to make stuff because then like garbage and everything, right? So I don't know, but I still think that this idea is going to be so cute. I think when my grandkids, when I have them someday, I think this would be a fun little project. Okay, so this is a cute one. I'm like, ooh, I got a little bend. Okay, right there. I'm going to put them very liberally in the middle. You know, you could go everything with this too. You could even, like, let's say you had like, one year, my dad was trying to be unique and different. And for Valentine's Day, he got my mom a black rose. And I thought it was pretty cool. It didn't have any symbolism of death or anything. It was more that it was just something new and different, and And that was the same year that the Addams Family came out. Remember the da-da-da-da? It was back, I want to say like 95. But anyway, so for the times, we had just saw the movie, and it was pretty funny, and my mom hated it. Oh, she cried. She was so mad that he got her a black rose. But, that, you know, that could totally be cool. You could Halloween this up, and see, this one is the sad one. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and cut this little piece of my flower. I got a little sadness right there, so I'm going to go cut that off. So you could totally... Yeah, there's so many, just pretty much any flower arrangement. Now, I picked roses this time because I like the roses. I'm going to just, since this guy's so huge, I'm just going to do a petal. I'm going to give him some extra glue because this guy's a little bit bigger. Make sure you push the glue through. We're going to give him a lot because he's a heavy guy. I'm going to... Ah! Ooh! Burned me. I'm going to make him go up. I think it's the coolest to have this guy go up. Make sure that my glue kind of gets a little bit of everywhere so it's flattened out. Let that be for a minute, but I still kind of want him to be open. Yeah. I'm happy. So, let's see. We need to let this thing dry. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to let this guy dry, it's going to take me about 30 minutes to clean up here. Well, no, I don't have much, 15. Going to let this guy dry for a little bit, and yeah, he's a cute one. Really cute one. Yeah. This is great. I think we should do this again, but like totally with different flowers, just 'cause. Like we could make one for like, well, you could make one for every season. Wouldn't this be totally cute with some poinsettias? Yeah. And then some like clovers of some sort. I mean, they're tiny, bigger ones. I mean, because you don't really want it to be cheesy, right? But yeah, I mean, it is kind of cheesy. It's arty. I mean, honestly, I can see it. The angle that I'm looking at is kind of down a little bit, and I can see that I have some stems here and there. And this guy, on purpose, I kind of did it this way because I'm trying to, not every rose is symmetrically perfect. And by having one that's just a little bit off, he's kind of pointing in this direction. The whole deal with that is that it's not super symmetrical and not super perfect. So anyways, thank you so much for painting with me today. I am so excited to see your painting. I'm pretty sure it's awesome. So please take a picture and send it to me. Email it to me. Do whatever. You can find my info in the description or just put it in the comments. I want to see what you got. Maybe, I'm pretty sure yours is probably way cooler than mine. So I want to see it. I need to get inspiration and ideas. So yeah, I will see you tomorrow. And as always, I always like to remind everybody at the end of the video, I want to remind you, if you haven't today, take a moment, go to your loved ones, tell them that you love them, give them a hug, tell them with words, do an action to show that you love them because you don't know when you're going to see them again. And until tomorrow, I love you and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Push the purple flower to subscribe and you can watch all kinds of awesome videos.